So guys, right, we all want to have lower scores, and in this video we're going to take a peek at the averages of statistics for golfers at your level. Meaning when we look at a handicap of say 10 or a handicap of 5 and we're looking at greens and regulation, putts per round, scores on an international level, it gives you a great gauge, a guide to where you are and how to get to the next level. How do I get from a handicap of 10 to a handicap of 5, from a handicap of 5, handicap of 0? Let's take a peek. Let's get started and have a look at some really interesting statistics here before we get into some basic, awesome tips to get you guys hitting more greens immediately in regulation. Right, let's get stuck into it. So hi everyone, right, fascinating stuff here, and we're looking at the different handicaps and the different scores on average. The greens in regulation, how many greens in regulation people are actually hitting, and of course the putts per round. And I say it's interesting because it's not what we would expect it to be. Let's go through some of the statistics. Handicap scratch or handicap 0, averaging internationally 75.7. Did you think it was going to be lower? What about handicap 1 to 5, averaging 79.8? I thought that was going to be lower. And when we get up to the end of the scale of things, handicap 21 to 25, averaging out 100. Now a lot of people still have it in their heads, you know, back in the day with the scratch player, that they're averaging around par. It's quite surprising to see the score there. Now when we look at greens and regulation, you know, what's the average on the PGA Tour? We're looking around 66 to 67% of greens in regulation. Don't forget that those courses are much more difficult. And I had a great conversation with Mark Leishman for many hours a couple of years ago, talking about everything, and he said the courses are just so difficult, it's so hard to make a cut. He said you've got to play really good. You've got to play really well to make a cut, and we don't tend to notice that when we're sitting on the couch and maybe eating a packet of chips or something. Do you know what I mean? So, interesting stuff. Now, when we're looking at this statistic, this is a surprising one for me. I feel like a school teacher with this thing in my hand. You're handing at 1 to 5, looking at 48% of greens. That means, people, that the golfers really, they've got on every second hole a greenside shot, whether it's a chip or whether it's a bunker shot, but on every second hole. Right, now this is interesting because when we look at the other end of the scale of things, we start to see 21 to 25 handicap, 16% of greens in regulation. Even looking at 11 to 15, 28% of greens in regulation. So these guys, it's, you know, the short game's more prevalent because they've got to use it more. They've got to chip more. They've got more shots around the green than they do up this end of the scale. Now the best players really are the best ball strikers. People always think it's the best putters. We'll talk about that in a second, but you know, improving your ball striking is the fastest way. But if you're a little bit older, if you've got physical limitations and you can't hit the ball far enough or just, you know, make that swing, then concentrating on this area here is important. And that's why on WorldClassGolf.com, after 6 months, average improvement is between 3 to 11 shots on our platform, which is remarkable. Putts per round, club golfers aren't putting as bad as what people like to suggest. You're 31.5, handicap 0, and we get up to 6 to 10, and it's 33.7. So you're making gains here, it's difficult. Look, putting good, between putting good and putting bad, it's about 10 shots. So if you go out and putt well and you putt bad, it's 10 shots. If you putt good or you putt average, it's about 4 to 6 shots. So, but we can't all putt great all the time. We want to, but we can't for whatever reason. But putting poorly, very important that we get our technique worked out. Improving your statistics, your handicap, your scores, really interesting area. Higher handicaps, we can get a lot out of stats, getting in, getting apps, having a look at that. Let's get further into the video where we look at a couple of great tips just to strike the ball a little bit more effectively and increase your greens in regulation, which essentially drops your scores and drops your handicap. So guys, we're looking at a pull shot here. This is more for the advanced player. I've got my oversized golf club here to sort of illustrate it a little bit better. I use this when I'm playing really badly. No, I'm not just kidding. But it's definitely an area for, you know, advanced players, pulling shots, especially pulling punch shots, 3/4 shots. So I'm going to give you guys some ammunition here. This is a couple of feels, a couple of things to use out on the battlefield when the bell rings, and it's an important one. So sometimes we need something to go to, but this isn't a band-aid. This is actually a feel used by, you know, a lot of great players out there, and especially it's helped some of the advanced players that I've been teaching and had the opportunity to learn off as well. So pull shots, obviously the face is closing down at impact, and you know, it's probably a couple of degrees closed or even more and heading off to the left. So what we see a lot is with people pulling the ball, it's something for you guys to keep an eye on, is that the face doesn't rotate this hard, and then you've got the middle spot of the golf club pointing straight down towards the ground. What we'll be after is looking at getting the face a little bit more neutral, so it's a little bit more of an underneath release. Now for advanced players, a lot of the time we're trying to hold off the release or slow it down sometimes, you know, as you know, the club golfers are obviously doing different and trying to, you know, stop slicing and square the face up by rotating the hands. But a lot of the advanced players have, you know, a lot more, or sometimes too much face rotation, and by doing that they'll just get the right arm a little bit higher than the left. So what we're going to be trying to do is, when we come through, it's like the feeling of holding the heel of the club up a little bit higher through the shot. Now it's obviously not going to come through like that, but that's what it's going to feel like. You're going to feel like the logo on the left hand points upwards, and we need an anti-left shot. We need to restrict it sometimes. If, you know, there's out of bounds on the left, water left of the green, the pins on the left, if we're just having one of those moments, those days where we tend to pull the ball, we need something to go to. And this is a great little thought. So when we get in there, you're trying to really, a lot of the time when we're flipping the club a little bit, you know, the toe will come to the ball a little bit quicker. So we're trying to sort of, you can try and hold it off a little bit and get that heel to stay up a little bit more, so that we definitely don't have then, you know, this fear of hitting the shot to the left. Okay, so I've held that one up. Now the shot may go slightly to the right side of the green or the right half, but something that we need sometimes with cross winds for the advanced player as well. I mean, you can get, I'll just grab the bigger club again, you can get a touch more, just a smidge more lag and drag on the grip.
So guys, right, hitting more greens in regulation, improving your contact. So you've got pure contact, enables us to hit more greens in regulation. Let's have a look here at this setup, because it's not looked at enough. Getting a great setup inside these PGA averages here is going to help you a lot. Let's have a look at that number there, 80 degrees drawn up, right? What does that mean? So this guy's got already, the PGA Tour player here, he's got 10 degrees of shaft lean before he actually starts. Now we've got 10 to 12 degrees at impact. So looking at getting the shaft and the lead arm like Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods in this position, it's really going to help you hit, the masses of the people out there hit cleaner shots. We got the left side of the body up against this wall. Now what's interesting from this position here, people, I'm going to draw a line up here, this golf ball directly up, illustrating, let's see if you can do this yourself, illustrating the finish line. Now when we come down, what we're trying to do, and I'm going to show you that in the drill coming up in a second, is to get this knee to the finish line before the hands do. Right, and this is going to help us get forwards, open up your bottom half, and hopefully if you can keep your heads pretty centered, all of a sudden we're improving our low point, where we get more shaft lean at impact. Let's have a look at that. We're getting around 11 degrees of shaft lean on this one, and this is really going to help you hit cleaner shots, cleaner contact, get some compression through the ball into a wonderful finish position. And these lines and angles I'm drawing, this is the best analyzing system in world golf. This is used by Tiger Woods, it's Sean Foley, Butch Harmon, so many people. It's the V1 Pro system, and we have a deal on WorldClassGolf.com for 99 bucks, normally around 500. Probably want to check that one out. Right, guys, let's have a look here at just a quick glance before we move into a drill to help your rhythm, sequence, feel, and impact position. Unfortunately, we're seeing club golfers a lot of the time coming back to impact and the hands winning the race, and not really happening through the golf ball there, creating a little bit of a collision course. Right, we've got a drill here, and it's going to incorporate some time, some feel. It's not complicated. It's what we want to use, the right side of the brain, with a dominating thought, of course, being the golf ball. Let's check that out now.
World Class Golf Instruction has over 700 detailed videos for every golfer. Practice programs and evidence-based material is applied in helping you to become your own coach and play your best golf. Join us in the chat room and join the community of World Class Golf Instruction. So hi everybody, let's have a look at a bit of a tip here for a bit of sequence. Help you guys with your impact position. Also help you with a bit of timing and getting the speed of the club to match the speed of the body a little bit better. So I've got my little clicker thing here. All right, so I'm going to stand on this thing. Now, a lot of people can't do this. I'll show you a couple of ways you do it. So I stand on it, and what I'm going to try and do is when the club touches the ground, we're going to get the click and the club on the ground at the same time. So they're actually creating this sequence of the shaft and the right knee coming in together at impact. All right, there's another way to look at this, because I'm seeing a lot of people, when I get a lot of people to do this, this is how they do it. Actually, some guys do it, the click comes in the clubhouse, on the 19th hole, half an hour later. But you really want to have a look at this. There's another way of doing it, because you're trying to get this effect that when my first boss used to tell us that David Armstrong, a wonderful hitter of the golf ball, and played in a few British Opens and won a lot of tournaments. He used to get us to get the right hand and the right leg and just slap it on the way through, click the fingers, and then you can get this timing at impact. And that's going to get you to cover the ball. It gets the hips moving, it gets some separation from your bottom half to your top half. It's a basic thought, it's something that you can actually take out there. Right hand, excuse me, right hand, right leg, right hand, right foot, right hand, right knee, and get that timing and that sequence matched up at the bottom of your swing.